You're locked into Back to BasSTriX podcast. Check out the live show from 8 till 10 every Friday on BasSTriX.co.uk. For more information, check out BasSTriX.webs.com. Back to BasSTriX.
Yes, I'm Ricky G and you're locked into Back to BasSTriX podcast. This is episode 2 and it's all about drugs. So what's in your mind, students?
Drugs now, yeah. It's brilliant.
Drugs are bad and I'm totally against it.
It's fun to have a little experiment.
I wouldn't do anything like that.
Weed, not too bad.
Drugs are bad. Drugs are very bad, but weed's good. I don't really think weed is a drug, to be honest.
A nice spliff is pretty good.
Back to BasSTriX.
Yes, the song you're listening to there is Leaving London, the Mac and Taylor remix by Team SR. And there seems to be a lot of cons against weed and drugs, you know. I can't see what's going on here. I always thought a lot of people were into this by now. But, you know what I'm saying? It seems a good thing, though, because drugs is quite a bad thing, especially in society. Well, they say it is anyway. I'll tell you what I think is bad is raising tuition fees, but, you know.
Back to BasSTriX.
So, I suppose you're wondering, why drugs? Well, apparently, according to the national statistics, over 400,000 people in the UK have ever reported using cannabis by the time they're 20. 20? What's going on there? From 20 to 24, over 500,000 people in the whole UK ever reported that they smoked it. I don't know about you, but that's a lot of people. We have to either cope with it, or I suppose we have to cope with it, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, we've got an interview here with a student who's currently living in London. So what do you think about drugs? Are they good or bad?
I don't have a strong opinion either way, really. Sometimes, you know, it's fun to have a little experiment, but I wouldn't say I'm a regular user.
Do you think drugs are affecting the youth in any way?
Yeah, I guess so. I think more people use them now, and they're getting, people say they're getting stronger, so I guess it is having a bit of a negative effect.
Yes. Next up, we're speaking to someone who I'm guessing does a hell lot of coursework, because to be fair, well, he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, and he doesn't take drugs.
Just don't see the point of it, really. Something that smells bad, meant to be for socialising, which I just don't see the point of it. You can do other things to socialise without having to rely on alcohol, weed, cigarettes, everything.
Well,
Back to BasSTriX. Getting ready for the weekend on BasSTriX.co.uk. Back to BasSTriX.
yes. Next up, we're going to be chatting to some guy who I'm guessing smokes a lot of it, because he seems very experienced at it, you know what I'm saying? So, what do you think about drugs? Do you think they're good, bad? You know what I'm saying? What's your opinion?
It's alright, to be honest, in like quantities, and it depends what drug. Like weed and that was only made illegal, I think, because the paper business. Like hemp was cheaper to make like paper out of, so the drug industries, like who were gonna do it, the paper industries went against them, and that's how that got legalised. Coke and stuff, it's good. Like you hear about people who like overdose and shit. The reason they like overdose is probably because there's not that much information on taking them. Do you know what I mean? Like if people were to say, look, drugs are bad, but if you're gonna go against the law and do them, at least tell people who haven't done it before what's what. Like if it's safe not to drink water, like on ecstasy and shit, only do small lines of MD.
What about the youth?
The youth are taking drugs. Fucked up, innit? It's brilliant. Fucking brilliant. Mate, I tell you now, alright. Drugs now, yeah. It's brilliant. You see, fucking, it's nothing really. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's fucking expensive though now, isn't it?
Well, yes, I can imagine it's very expensive now. Anyway, next up we're going to be speaking to some really confused stoner by the sounds of things, and actually he was smoking a J at the time. So what's your views on the whole drug scenario, bearing in mind you're smoking now?
Drugs are bad. Drugs are very bad, but weed's good. I don't really think weed is a drug, to be honest. Like weed, you should smoke weed. Everyone should smoke weed, I think. Everyone.
Could this have some bad things happen to society though, if a lot of people are smoking weed on a regular basis?
No, not really. That place like Amsterdam, if you go to Amsterdam, I've been to Amsterdam. Absadab, everyone smoking weed, they're all chilled. Everyone's just chilled out, man. If everyone smoked weed, roll yourself a nice blue slim, you know what I mean, cheese, haze maybe. Just get high, man.
What about lemonade?
I'm smoking right now.
Back to BasSTriX.
Yeah, man, but weed, I say weed's good, but every other drug, I don't touch drugs, I just touch weed. I've known a couple of people that they started on weed and that's how they got into harder stuff, you know what I'm saying? But it's like how you control it, innit? If I think obviously the drug can control certain people because they're weaker in it mentally, innit? Maybe that's just how they are and that's how they get affected. I think it affects people different. So really when I say everyone should smoke weed, that's not really right, but it's good to get high, man.
What about the youth? Do you think the youth are taking it too much on board?
The youth, I think the youth are abusing it too much these days. If you like older smokers, I know a lot of older smokers, and they don't abuse weed. Like they use weed and get me £20 might last them a week, get me. When youth these days, they're just abusing weed, and that's how it's just affecting them in unsociable ways and stuff like that, I think.
To be fair, you won't believe how right you are. Apparently, by the time people are 40 to 44, almost half the amount of people are not smoking weed. Anyway, up next we'll be speaking to another guy who seems to know a fair bit more knowledge about it.
Back to BasSTriX.
So what do you think about drugs? Do you think they're good or bad?
Pretty positive really, because well, depending on the drug, I mean cannabis is pretty good for you really in the main sense of what it does to your body. Most of the scientific tests that they did to disprove it were rigged in one way or another. There was that test with the gorilla, I think it was, I'm not sure, but where they forced so much smoke into its lungs at one time that it was actually the lack of oxygen that was killing brain cells, and they chalked it down to the actual effect of the cannabis. But overall, I mean, I've been smoking weed for years now, and I've got nothing bad really to say about it. I mean, it can be seen as a gateway drug, but it depends on your willpower really.
How would you prefer to smoke it?
Depend on the situation. A joint is always the easiest way forward, but you know, it's always fun to make a pipe or something out of a vegetable, kill some time. You know, nice little carrot pipe or something, or a potato pipe, always good fun. Pipes are quite cool.
It's affecting the youth in any way?
That would really depend on what sort of section of society you're looking at. People might sort of bow into their friends and sort of the peer pressure of it and sort of get into it and then get led on by their friends and get into harder stuff. But as a whole, there are some excellent points to drugs. They can be used to enhance our lifestyles. There are obviously dangers and pitfalls, but we just need to be aware of them to be able to avoid them.
What about creativity? Would you say drugs actually help?
In moderate amounts, you can get too monged out on some of them, but a couple of spliffs can really help open you up to ideas and stuff.
Yes, so I'm Ricky G, and you've been tuned into the Back to BasSTriX podcast. Don't forget to tune into the live show every Friday from 8 till 10 on blast-radio.co.uk. Also, don't forget to check out the Back to BasSTriX website on backtobastrix.webs.com.
You're locked into Back to BasSTriX podcast. Check out the live show from 8 till 10 every Friday on blast-radio.co.uk. For more information, check out backtobastrix.webs.com. Back to BasSTriX.